Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargav. Welcome to Tidbits on Business and Finance with me. Corporate India has been rocked with giant and shocking frauds and scams, particularly in the last few years. This edition of corporate frauds began, according to us, with the Nirav Modi Mehul Chokshi banking scam, which was found out somewhere in February 2018. Then we had ILFS, we had ICICI Bank, we had Yes Bank, we had the collapse of PMC Bank, we had the giant misdemeanor in Reliance Capital, Reliance Communication, and many others. While all this was going on, there were other corporates who were willful defaulters of bank loans, who willfully ensured that they cheated the banks of the loans that they took. And this list is equally long. It includes the likes of Bhushan Power, Bhushan Steel, Videocon, Transtroy, Sterling Biotech, and many others. In other words, corporate India, as we said, has been rocked with scams and frauds. One common element in a corporate scam or a corporate fraud is that there are large-scale banking and financial violations which are committed in these companies. These violations lead to money laundering, tax evasion in a large way, and by doing that, siphoning and diversion of money out of the company continues by the management, by the promoters for years together. This siphoning remains hidden because of bogus financial statements that are prepared by these companies with the help of collusive independent directors and accomplices in the form of statutory auditors. All of them prove to be yes men of these dubious managements. All these fraudulent companies, if you would notice, have had extremely glossy and impressive annual reports along with clean auditors' reports, and it is in this that their frauds and scams were hidden for years together. In these frauds that took place, the public was of course cheated, and the public felt let down the most by the statutory auditors of these companies. They realized that these auditors had been willing accomplices, and they also realized that the management of these corporates used the skill and expertise of the auditors in order to commit scams and in order to hide them thereafter. The Indian investing public, the common man in India, does not get shocked or betrayed when it is found that the promoters of a company have been fraudulent and scammy. It is when they realize that the statutory auditors have betrayed them that they felt the most let down. After all, the public expected that the statutory auditor of a company would protect their interests. The public expected that auditors would find out frauds and scams, if any, that are perpetrated by the managements, and they will report the truth as it is instead of concealing it in their ambiguous audit reports which certify financial statements as true and fair. Incidentally, while all these frauds and scams were being found out, coinciding with that, the Government of India set up the NFRA, the National Financial Reporting Authority. To us, the NFRA was set up as a result of the failure of the Institute of Chartered Accountants to discipline and control its own erring members. The NFRA started its activities from October 2018, and the first major case that it truly took up was that of failure of the auditors in the case of ILFS. The statutory auditors of ILFS had been Deloitte and also KPMG. And when the investigation started, in their contentions before the NFRA, they said that as auditors, they are not expected to find out frauds. After all, they are watchdogs, they are not bloodhounds, and they are not expected to be investigators who find out frauds in the company. That argument did not cut ice with the NFRA at all, and the NFRA held both these audit firms and their partners to be guilty of gross professional misconduct. This is the stand that the NFRA has been taking, that auditors cannot just say that they are watchdogs and that they are not expected to be investigators. And this was made even more clearer in a recent speech that was written for the NFRA chairman to be addressed to the members of the Chartered Accountant fraternity. In that speech, the chairman of the NFRA said that auditors must forget this time-tested formula that they talk about of them being watchdogs and not bloodhounds. He said, forget this concept, it's too old. He said that the auditors need to approach their audit assignments with a sense of skepticism, with a sense of questioning, with the reality that they need to be alert to any kind of errors that might be there in the financial statements, and those errors may be deliberate or they may be innocent. But the fact is, they need to be alert to any of these kind of possibilities in the financial statements by having a sense of doubt in their mind. The NFRA chairman further said that auditors must seek independent external confirmation in respect of the financial statements of the company, and that they cannot just rely on the representations which are given by the management. After all, the management is an interested party and its representations are not worthy of being relied upon. He then said that auditors must obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements that they are certifying are free of any fraud or any error, and that they must ensure that if there are any such errors, they must be reported. He further said that the auditors must consider and report risks to the business such that their audit reports are more forward-looking than just being postmortems of a year that has gone by. And then he also insisted that auditors must ensure that there is meticulous compliance with the law by the management of those companies which they have been auditing. That was the stand of the NFRA, and it continues to maintain the stand. This stand of the NFRA is based on the public perception, public expectation of what the auditors must be doing, and it is not on the same page as the Institute of Chartered Accountants itself. There is a big rift between what is the role of the auditor as the NFRA thinks and as the institute thinks. While the NFRA goes by what is expected by the investing public, the institute on the other hand has been trying to go by what is stated in the law of the land. And this was made very clear in a recent press conference by the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He said that auditors are not investigators. They are not expected to be bloodhounds. They are a little bit of watchdogs, and they are a little bit of what he called sniffer dogs. Their job is to sniff and report to the audit committee to sensitize the management, and thereafter it is up to the management to decide what to do. He says that the auditors, not being investigators, are not permitted or are not supposed to convert an audit into an investigation. If they find there is anything fishy, they must just alert the audit committee of the company, or they may suggest a forensic audit, but they don't become or they do not get into the role of being investigators. He said that the Institute of Chartered Accountants is trying to communicate this stand to agencies like SFIO, EOW, etc., all of whom investigate financial frauds and crimes and very often call auditors for questioning. It is very clear from these statements of the NFRA chairman and those of the president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India that the two authorities are not on the same page, and there is a major rift, there's a major difference in opinion about what is the expected role of the auditor and what is he expected to do. To us, truth lies somewhere in between these two stands that have been taken by these authorities. And here comes the larger picture. The larger picture, according to us, is that if an auditor fails to perform all those audit checks and tests, the basic audit tests as we call it, while doing the audit, then he's certainly guilty of collusion and negligence. Thus, the auditor must perform all those basic tests that they need to perform to obtain reasonable assurance that the audited statements are free of any fraud or error. The second, according to us, is for the auditor to be able to do that, the auditor needs protection. The auditor needs protection of his independence, and that becomes especially relevant where there are auditors of companies which have got extremely powerful managements. Thus, if you want the auditor to perform, his independence must be maintained, and the government has a role to play here. Further, in our opinion, the auditor is a combination of a watchdog as well as a bloodhound. In case the auditor thinks or suspects that something is wrong, the auditor will need to investigate the entire matter and cannot just shrug and walk away saying that it is not his job to be an investigator. To us, in the present scenario, the duties of the auditor would include to ensure that the compliance of the law of the land has been done by the management in the fullest terms. He needs to ensure that auditing and accounting standards have been complied with, and he needs to report any kind of business risks or fraud that he comes across. So, the role of the auditor has to be in tandem with what the public is expecting the auditor in the present times. Finally, the larger picture is that the auditor of a company is appointed by shareholders and his primary responsibility is to protect the interests of the shareholders, which is not what has happened when we talk about all these frauds and scams that have taken place. And because of that, the auditors have been made to stand in the dock. This is Akhilesh Bhargav signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Hello everyone. HW News English is 2 years old now. When we started this venture, we promised ourselves one thing, that news should remain free, because right to know is the right of every Indian. But to keep news free for everyone, we need support from some of you. And thus we have rolled out membership on our YouTube channel HW News English. But mind you, the membership is completely voluntary. The programs that we were doing earlier, that we are doing now, will continue to remain free. First level is a basic level. Here, you can be our supporter by paying Rs 199 per month. This membership gives you certain perks and benefits. The perks include unique badges in front of your name, a live show from Mr. Sujit Nair and from Mr. Akhilesh Bhargava per month for our members. You can also vote in some exclusive members-only polls. Now the second level is Super Supporter. Here you can be our Super Supporter by paying Rs 3,999 per month. This membership will include every perk that comes with basic level. Additionally, our Super Supporters can be a part of a WhatsApp group where we can have discussions and suggestions on various topics. The second perk includes a gift pack with our merchandise. And the third perk is a Google Meet with Mr. Sujit Nair, where you can join the meet and ask your questions to Mr. Nair face to face. Lastly, if you like, we would give a shout out to our super supporters in our programs. So, hope to see you soon with our badges.